So you just got back from Turning Point USA event?
Yeah, SAS.
So how was that? What all did that entail?
Super fun, man. It was just 3 days of amazing speakers. I think there were three to 5,000 young, kids there, and it was amazing. I mean, people like Nigel Farage was there. Jordan Peterson was there. Even some people from Fox and Tucker Carlson was there.
Oh, nice.
It was awesome, man. Especially seeing someone like Jordan Peterson, get up there and speak. I mean, as I was saying, there were thousands of kids, and right when he came out, everyone was freaking out. I mean, he was like a rock star to these young kids. They were freaking out. It's really incredible. I mean, like this old, he's not old, but just a professor, and yet you have all these young kids like, oh my God, they were just super excited. He's a rock star,
Yeah, it's hit that next level. I think maybe it was the end of his first appearance on Joe Rogan. It might have been second, but when he first got into Christianity and religion, for the first time I ever heard sort of his perspective on that, and like the passion and thought that he put into it. That's inspiring. I think that brings, it's interesting, it's a rock star level energy about like spirituality.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah.
A rock star philosopher, that's, I guess that's a good thing about the day and age we live in. We're like philosophers are rock stars,
Yeah. There's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
If you have a lot to say and have a message that reaches people,
yeah,
like you have the avenue to do it.
Yeah, and kids thinking and like using their just reading and like learning and instead of just trying to get messed up and party, I guess.
Yeah, it gives you.
That's fun too. That's fun too. Sure. But knowing what's going on is it's really cool to see kids who are they want to learn,
Yeah, and planning for the future too, instead of getting caught up in just the typical struggles of adolescence. You actually building towards the future, learning and educating yourself, and that's something I relate to, being homeschooled for a lot of my life, is like being able to seek out what you want to learn.
Yeah,
and that curiosity's carried on now with like podcasts, listening to Rogan or Peterson and people.
Mm-hmm. Rogan's great too. Good, yeah.
Yeah, if you're a curious person, he's one of the best shows to listen to.
He'll talk about anything.
Yeah.
Could
be hunting one week and martial arts the next.
That's what's so cool. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. I was gonna ask, so with the event at Turning Point, so are you doing meet and greets now? Do you talk to people, or?
I did one. I was there to hang out.
Yeah.
It's kind of just there to meet kids and say hi and just. I heard Jordan Peterson was going to be there, and I was like, oh man, I definitely want to go. But it was awesome, man. I just super lucky that I got to just see what's going on. I want to know what's going on in the culture, what's going on, what are people thinking, what are kids reacting to. Just like them, I like to learn as well. So I'm kind of there learning just like they are.
Yeah. Do you think it influences like the songwriting or style of music you play at all? Like meeting with people that have different opinions, like younger people. Do they ever like kind of give you any feedback on like what they're hearing?
They do, and I don't know if it's so much like meeting them, but like definitely with like Peterson and stuff like that. And kind of what we were just talking about with Akira, kind of more meaningful stuff that actually, songs that mean something. He talks about obviously responsibility a lot. I think that's, really important. It's weird that that's cool now, like responsibility and like, standing up for yourself. And I don't know, I think that's fascinating. And I've definitely taken a lot of that into my music recently, and just, kind of what I was just saying, not so much about just having a good time and partying and, girls and stuff. All that's really important. But love and just meaningful music. I think it's really, that's kind of where my head has been at recently. So
yeah, That's awesome, because, I mean, you were kind of ruling the dance pop scene
Back in
for
the day.
a while.
Yeah.
It's cool to see.
And there's still a lot of that. There's still a lot of that. But
it's maturing and
yeah.
putting different ideas, I guess, into your creation.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm 29 now. I got signed at 18, and when I was 18, it was definitely about partying really, really hard. And when you're that young, you get signed, you have all that money, and you're just like, I'm just going to do whatever I want. And then you're like, there was still elements of love in there. Songs like Kelsey and stuff like that.
For sure.
Definitely had that. And I think with a lot of the new stuff I've been writing, it's definitely more on that kind of like Kelsey vibe. So.
Nice. Yeah, I thought that was one of your best ones off.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So at Turning Point, I guess we were talking earlier on Kyle Kashuv, who's a survivor of the Parkland shooting, who's been doing a lot of different interviews and appearances, and just really a smart dude who seems to have more knowledge and more balance on gun control and gun laws than anyone that's come out of sort of this March for Our Lives situation and all of that.
I agree with you. He's super intelligent. Just a great kid, and he's been through a lot, obviously. And he's just super smart. Lucky to call him a friend. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
He was speaking at the...
He was. He did. I think he spoke on the second day. But he's just... I think he's only like 17, and like he's just, he's gonna have... We'll see where he goes, but I think, he's just, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's really, really smart.
He definitely, at least from, I guess, you actually know him, I don't know, but from the outside, he seems to fit the mold of what Akira's talking about, sort of the wholesome age, and kids coming up with, like, like real traditional, family values. He's a kid who's, he's polite and well-spoken and well-reasoned, which not everyone, I guess, involved in that
especially
situation
that age.
was. That age, and you've got,
And he's focused. When I was that age, I was not very focused.
Yeah, that's incredible to see. Yeah, it's fascinating.
He's like, he's an adult. He's 17, but, man, he is just, he knows what he wants. And when I was 17, I really didn't. So it's cool to see that. He's really smart.
Yeah. When I was 17, I was trying to, like, play sort of punk rock music.
Sure.
And you were too. But
that's what I was doing.
Yours is working out.
But that's what, and he loves what he's doing. He gets up there and talks to these kids, and he's like a rock star too. When he walked down the stage, all these young kids were like, "Oh my God, it's Kyle!" He's kind of has that rock star thing about himself as well.
Yeah, for him, because he obviously went through a traumatic experience, and I think for him, what makes him inspiring to someone like me, or probably for a lot of people, is there's all the pressure and all the basically automatic fame. Like, if he had just gone against his actual values, we're talking about common values. Like, he showed, here's my values, and obviously it worked out for him. But at the start, people weren't calling him up to talk to him. No, people, weren't.
He's had a lot of hate thrown his way.
Yeah, quite. I've seen some of it. Yeah, but he had quite a bit of pressure, I'm sure, to go against his values and didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, he stood his ground, he definitely stood up for what he believes in. And, that's just, it's honorable, I think, not to budge on what you believe in. I think that's really important. And like you're saying, you have a lot of people poking and prodding and like, hey, just, go back on your beliefs, takes a lot of guts to take all that heat for sure.
Yeah, I think it goes to show, too, the people that have taken the heat and not given in seem to end up, better for it most of the time.
I think so, too.
Some people, obviously, it's not going to work out.
No.
There's sacrifices and stuff, but it seems in the culture now that there still is a window, and there's, an audience. There's people that want the truth. They want, what you really believe. They don't want you to repeat something. Yeah.
And if you're the kind of person that is just switching his beliefs, whenever it's good for you, then, how is someone to, really trust you,
Yeah.
But if you stick up for what you, believe in and you don't back down, regardless of what happens, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, we were just watching The Karate Kid the other day. There used to be so much a message of like standing up for yourself for kids and being tough and
no matter what.
Yeah. It's like do what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I think we're gonna hopefully get a big dose of that in our culture.
I hope so. I think we need it. Because especially when you're a kid, it's super hard when, there's so many people around you telling you, you can't think a certain way, you can't do this, or, you're banished from society if you think a certain way. I think, hopefully we're getting to a point where, regardless of what anyone else thinks, I'm going to stick up for what I believe in, and,
Yeah.
Screw what you say.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of guts. I don't know. It's like you're saying, it doesn't work out for some people, but like at the end of the day, just knowing that this person, no matter what, didn't change and stood up for himself. I mean, that's awesome. I think.
Yeah, it's powerful because it's not just powerful in that moment with what you stood up for and what you impacted them, but people can look at you as an example, and it just keeps cascading in that direction.
Yeah.
I mean, look at a lot of people being censored now, online especially. I mean, tech companies are just pushing people off.
They are.
It seems that as people have sort of stood up to them, like they haven't disappeared. Like Alex Jones, Gavin McInnes, Owen Benjamin, they've all been kicked off major platforms, but they haven't disappeared yet.
Yeah.
Because there's like there's just a solidarity around people that are taking that sacrifice.
Yeah, especially when you get that ban, or you're kicked out of the internet cool kids club or whatever whatever it is, you're kind of a martyr at that point. Once you get that take all that heat and you're banned, you're kind of looked at as like a martyr. I think it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, for this show to take off, we'll just have to get banned. Let's say something really. We'll show up in like a Nazi costume.
Right.
Yeah. So with the music scene, like in LA, like are you connected with sort of mostly LA musicians, or with touring and everything, is it more?
I know a lot of different musicians. I'm connected with musicians in everywhere from New York to Nashville to Texas to LA. I know a lot of different artists. I mean, I've traveled everywhere pretty much, except for like Africa and parts of Asia. But there's definitely like a community of musicians. But even in the music world, everyone kind of thinks a certain way.
Yeah. I was curious about that, like between like sort of LA or Nashville. Like, is there a big difference? Is Nashville pretty rigid in terms of sort of the public thought and everything, or is it?
Well, I would say that especially when it comes to Nashville, you definitely have similar, kind of that similar one way of viewing things that you have in LA, but at the same time with country music and stuff, there's more of a conservative element, especially when it comes to country music. You have a lot of people who don't hold, or, just have different values, kind of more traditional values like we were talking about in, in Nashville, and Texas as well,
Yeah, I guess it's still okay to be conservative there.
Yeah, and especially with like mainstream country music, I mean, there's still elements, where they talk about God and they talk about faith and they talk about, I think you definitely see the kind of more traditional beliefs there. Yeah. Love, family, God, I think that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I wonder why it got stuck in country music, like those ideas.
It's a good question.